Okay, so this is Chapter 10, Lesson 7, Solving Quadratic Equations with the Quadratic Formula. That's basically your objective. That's what you're doing. So I'm going to sing you that wonderful song again, and let me remind you, you will be required to memorize this formula. And a way to remember it is by this song. X is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Very sorry for your ears right now, but I had to. Okay, 2x squared plus 8x equals 5. I need to make sure that this is in the correct format. Meaning I need to make sure it's an ax squared plus bx plus c where my 5 is over on the other side. So I need to subtract 5 from both sides because it's a positive 5. So this cancels out, and my new equation will be 2x squared plus 8x minus 5 equals 0. So now I have to write out what a, b, and c equal. Yes, you have to do that. So right here I'm going to write a equals 2, b equals 8, and c equals negative 5. So now I have to write out my equation, which I should know because I sing it every single day. X is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now all I do is plug and chug. So my x is equal to the opposite of b. My b is a positive 8. The opposite of b is a negative 8. Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus, minus 4a c all over 2a. Don't be jealous of my singing voice. Okay, so I color-coded it because some of you, it helps, and some of you find it very annoying, and I don't really care. So negative 8 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So negative 8, I'm going to write everything else now in black, plus or minus the square root of 8 squared, 64 minus 4 times 2 times negative 5 is plus 40. You can go ahead and type everything in that calculator, do 8 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 5, and it will do the order of operations for you. But the answer is the square root of 104, because it's 64 plus 40, all over 4. Now I'm going to do what I learned in the last chapter. I'm going to simplify the square root of 104. I'm going to do that in light purple at the very top of the screen. It's kind of a scratch work kind of thing. 104 divided by 2 is 52. Divided by 2 is 26. Divided by 2 is 13. Divided by 13 is 1. So now I can take out a 2, that's my pair, and all my pairs come out of the radical. So my new equation will read negative 8 plus or minus the square root, so I have my 2 on the outside, and then 2 times 13 is 26. That's what stays inside, all over 4. Okay, so you're not finished yet. What you need to do now is you can simplify this even more. And I tried teaching y'all this, or I taught y'all this on before y'all's last exam to make it a little bit easier for y'all. I'm going to teach you it in a different way, and maybe those of you that were confused by the way I taught you last time, this will maybe hopefully help. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at your numerator. Your numerator is -8 plus or minus 2 the square root of 26. And you're going to think to yourself, what can I factor out of both monomials? Well, you can factor out a 2 because -8 and 2 are both divisible by 2. So when you factor that out, your numerator will look like this. -8 divided by 2 is -4, plus or minus 2 divided by 2 is 1. You don't need to write a 1 there. The square root of 26. And then your denominator stays the same. It's going to be 4. And now you're probably wondering, like, Ms. Pearsall, why did we work backwards? Why do you want to do that? Well, I want you to do that because you will be able to simplify it from here. 2 and 4 can both reduce by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So my new equation is -4 plus or minus the square root of 26 all over 2. The correct way to write this in a solution set, and I'm just going to put SS for now because it will take me forever and a day to write solution set on the iPad. Solution set is pretty brackets -4 plus the square root of 26 all over 2 and -4 minus the square root of 26 all over 2. That's what that plus or minus means. If you could simplify it more, then you would, but you can't. So that is pretty much all you have to do. I'm going to show you, actually, yeah. Alright, 20 equals 16 squared. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make 0 on one side. So that means that I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides because I want to keep my a positive. So how this will read is 0 equals 16x squared minus 20. So now I'm going to write out what my a equals. A equals 16. But now I'm stuck. I noticed that I don't have a b. I don't have something that's connected to an x. If I don't have a b, that means I'm just going to plug in a 0. And my c will equal -20. So then I have x is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x is equal to the opposite of b, which is 0, plus or minus the square root of 0 squared, which is 0, minus 4 times 16 times -20 all over 2 times 16. So I'm going to simplify. X is equal to 0 plus or minus the square root. 0 minus 4 times 16 times -20 is going to be 0 plus 1,280. And you could have typed that in your calculator to figure that out. 1,000, or solved it out by hand. 1,280 divided by 32. So what I'm really going to have is plus or minus the square root of 1,280 divided by 32. What I want you to do now is I want you to pause the video and simplify the radical of 1,280. Okay, so this is what you should have got in the orange whenever you simplified your radical 1,280. So that means I can take 4 pairs of 2, so I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16. So then I'm left with the square root of 5, because that's what's left, all over 32. And then my plus or minus. Okay, so make this smaller so I have more room to work. Plus or minus the square root of 16 plus or minus the square root, 16, the square root of 5 over 32. Well, that means first I need to do one more step before I can have a plus value and a minus value. That means I need to reduce. 16 and 32 can both be divided by 16, so I'm left with 1, and then I'm left with 2. So, yep. Okay, good. Sorry, I need to make sure I was doing the right thing. So plus the square root of 5 over 2, and this negative square root of 5 over 2. This will be, you don't need that plus sign obviously, but this will be my solution set. And that's all. So I want you to, we're going to have to do one more problem, but I want you to do this one completely on your own, and then tomorrow when you come to class, we're going to check it. Hey, Reese. Oh, yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum. Was that yummy? So this is the problem I want you to do, number 1, and that's it. And then tomorrow when you come to class, of course, we are going to check it.